Good morning and welcome to our third live Maths with Miss. I'm very excited about being back again today, and I'm looking forward to today's lesson and catching up with some of the work that I set you from yesterday as well. Remember, what do you need today? You need 2 pens, so you've got a different colour for marking, or a pen and a pencil. Your book. Now, one thing I've not mentioned yet, your book. I just did a little example here. Now, this would be amazing if you could set your work out a little bit like this. What you might notice, if you can see that, is that I've written the question as well as the answer. And then I've underlined the answer as well. So try and set your work out really, really neatly. It will help you if you set it out well. Excellent. Okay, so as we've talked about before, we've got our PE with Joe at 9 o'clock in the morning. You've got Maths with Miss at 10. And then today, English with Holly. She's doing a spellathon at 11 o'clock. So hopefully you'll be able to join in for that as well. You don't need a calculator. A ruler can be handy. And what is it that I've said to you before? You need to bring your brain, okay? Half an hour every weekday, 10 o'clock. Let's just be super, super focused so that we're getting the most benefit out of these sessions. I've mentioned to you about drawing up the 10 by 10 grid. I'll just show you that quickly now. But remember, if you haven't had a chance to draw it out into your book yet, that's absolutely fine. You can watch this back, press pause, and then copy it into your book later, or I'll pop it back up at the end of the lesson as well. Okay, I think we are about to get started. So we're going to start with the answers from yesterday's questions. Here we go. So we have the first 5 square numbers. I helped you out quite a lot, didn't I, yesterday? Because I gave you the first 4. We drew them up on the board. So the answers are 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. If A is B and B is 6, sorry, if A is 4 and B is 6, 2A cubed subtract 3B subtract 44. That's quite a complicated one, isn't it? You're going to need some working out for that. Okay, you get an answer of 66. Remember, we discussed yesterday that A cubed is A multiplied by A multiplied by A. So 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4 in this case. Okay, let's keep going. 8 cubed, 8 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 8. That gives us 512. Negative 6 multiplied by 16 gives us 112. And finally, 0.45, we're converting a decimal into a fraction. We get 45 over 100. And then we can simplify that down. If you can see that, we can simplify that down to 9 over 20. Excellent. So I hope you've marked them. I'd be really interested if you want to pop any marks in the live stream so I know how you're getting on. I'm now going to put on your questions for today. Here are your first 10 questions. You have 2 minutes. You have 30 seconds remaining. Okay, we're moving on to part 2. 10 more questions. Remember to number your questions in your margin. Make a note that it's part 2, so it's easier when you're marking. I'm giving you a tiny little bit of extra time here because that question 9 is quite a challenge. You now have 30 seconds remaining. Remember, you can attempt the questions in any order that you like. And part 3, your final 10 questions. 30 seconds to go. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. We're going to go through the answers. Make sure you've got that different colour pen to mark them. And I'm really hoping that some of you have written the questions as well as the answers to make it easier to mark. Okay, here we go. We have part 1. Number 1 is 35. Question 2 is 100. Question 3 is 4. Question 4 is 3. Question 5 is 3. Question 6 is 3:15 p.m. Question 7 is 48. Question 8 is 4,230. Question 9 is 2,467. And question 10 is 18.3. Part 2. Question 1 is 28. Question 2 is 4. Question 3 is 10. Question 4 is 9. Question 5 is 45. Question 6, 3. Question 7, 90. Question 8, 18. Oh, question 9. We're going to take a look at that on the board. There were 24 factors in total. And question 10, 35. Finally, part 3. Question 1, 48. Question 2, 2. Question 3, 5. Question 4. Oh, I've forgotten my percentage sign. 86%. Question 5 is 60 to the nearest whole number. Question 6 is -7. Question 7 is 80. Question 8 is 3. Question 9, again, a tricky one. We'll talk about that. 982. And question 10 is 3. So now we need to pop those numbers on our board. Let's spin it around so you can see. Hopefully you can see that. Right, so part 1, let's see if we've got any more numbers we can add on to our board. Okay, 35, excellent, that's a new number. 100 we have already done. 4 we have already done. 3 is a new number. Let's cover up 3. 3:15 p.m. Well, we've done 3 and we've done 15. 48 is a new number. Wow, 4,230. I don't think we can fit that on our board, and we can't fit 2,467 either. 18.3. Well, we've got 18. So let's move on. Part 2, we had 28, 4, 10, 9, 45. Yay, finally. 45. Pop that on. 3, 90, 18, 24 factors. Excellent. And 35. Last board. Part 3. We have 48. We've done that. 2. Excellent. We have 5. Pop that one on as well. 86. Yep, got that. Down here. 6. We've got loads on this one. 60. That was to the nearest whole number. -7. 80. Pop that one on. 3. we have done 982. Well, we can't do that. And 3 we've done. Excellent. Right, let's get started on some learning. Bring you back round this way. Oh, now I'm being reminded once more by my daughter. I always forget this. Don't forget, if you want shout outs, I will always make a section in my lesson for some shout outs. Or if you've got any questions, or what would be brilliant, right? We've just done 30 questions. Let me know how you got on. I'd really, really love to know what your mark is out of 30. So if you could ping that through as well, that would be brilliant. Okay, let's get started. So this was a part 1 question, question number 7. The question was, how many minutes from 9:16 in the morning, 9:16 a.m. to 10:04? Right, let's have a little quick look on the board. Let's bring this forward a little bit so hopefully you can see. So, the easiest way to do a question like this, I find, is to draw a number line. So, if we have got, so we'll just say using number line for our title. You don't have to. There's many other ways of doing it, but I think it's a really good visual way of doing it. So, if it's 9:16 in the morning, we've got to get to 10:04. Let's make it a little bit easier. So we'll stand on this side so you can see. So we could put in maybe 10 o'clock here. And we can see to get from 10 o'clock to 10:04 takes us 4 minutes. All right, not bad, not bad. Now we could go straight from 9:16 to 10, or we could break it down a little bit more to see if we can make it a little bit easier. So I think I'm going to choose 9:20. Let's have a look. So I'm going to put in here 9:20. So I can see to get from 9:16 to 9:20, again, coincidentally, is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. And then we need to get from 9:20 all the way up to 10 o'clock. So we could count up in tens. So we've got 9:20, 9:30, 9:40, 9:50, 10 o'clock. So I've got to add in there 40 minutes. So I've got 4 plus 40 plus 4. Can you see that okay? It's a bit harder to see, isn't it, with this pen? Equals 48 minutes. And as I always say, underline your answer. Don't forget your units, okay? 48 minutes. Let's move on. Still part 1, question 10. I just want to show you this very quickly. We talked about multiplying with decimals yesterday. But I just want to show you this question. Because what you'll find with maths is there's always loads of different ways of solving a problem. Not just one method. You can use different techniques depending on the question. So I'm going to show you something a little bit different to what we did yesterday. So multiplying decimals. This time we have a decimal, but we're multiplying it by a whole number. So we have 6.1 and we're multiplying it by 3. So when you've got a small integer here, a small whole number, you can use addition if you find it a little bit easier. So what we're saying here is we've got 3 lots of 6.1. We've got 1 lot, 2 lots, 3 lots. Let's write it down. We've got 1 lot, we've got 2 lots, we've got 3 lots. And sometimes we find addition easier than multiplication when it comes to those decimal numbers. So I can add up the numbers in my tenths column. That gives me a 3. Remember your decimal point. Always carry it down. Always match it up exactly in line. Then I've got 6, 12, 18. which gives me 18.3. All good? Right, let's move on to part 2. This is a big question, isn't it? Part 2, question 9. How many factors are there in 360? There are loads, but let's have a look at it and see if there's a logical way we can do it so we don't miss any out. So we have factors, and in this case it's 360. Now you may remember we talked about factor bugs and factor trees, factor bugs, rainbows, and then putting it in table form. Okay, so today we're going to just go straight to the table form. So we know, remember, we always start with 1 and the number itself. So we're going to have 1 and we're going to have 360. Because 1 multiplied by 360 is 360. And then we go through it in a really organised, sequential way. So then we say, well, 2 would be 180. 3 would be 120. 3 multiplied by 120 is 360. Now, it will start to get tricky, but there are techniques we can use. So we're going to try 4 now. Now, if I double 2, I get 4. So if I halve 180, I'm going to get 90. And 4 multiplied by 90 gives us 180. Let's keep going. 5. Well, I know that 10 multiplied by 36 gives me 360. So therefore, 5 must have to be doubled by twice 36 to give us that 360. So we're multiplying by 72. Let's have a look at 6. Now you might know because 6 multiplied by 6 is 36, but there's again another way you can do it. You can look at this 3 here going to the 6. We've doubled 3 to get 6. We've halved 120 to get 60. 6 multiplied by 60 gives us 120. Let's keep going. We've still got quite a few to do. Well, 7 is not a factor of 360, so we're going to move on to 8. Again, 4 multiplied by 90, so 8, which is double 4. If I multiply by half of 90 is 45. I'm going to get 8 multiplied by 45 gives me 360. Okay, let's try 9. So 9 is 3 times 3. Can I divide 120 by 3? Well, luckily I can, and it gives me 40. We already mentioned about that 10. 10 times 36. 11 is not a factor, so we can leave that one. 12, let's write 12 up here. Let's see if we can use any information. You might just look at that and say, well, I know that 12 multiplied by 3 is 36. But we might also be able to use this here, where we've got 6 multiplied by 60 here. We've doubled 6 to get 12. If we halve 60, we're going to get 30. Well, 13 isn't 1. And 14 can't be 1 because 7 isn't there. So now we go to 15. Have we got any numbers that can help us? Well, 5 multiplied by 72 gives us 360. So if I multiply 5 by 3, I get 15. Can I divide 72 by 3? I can. It gives me 24. Now, can I do 16? Well, 16 is double 8. But if I halve 45, I get 22.5. That's not a whole number. So that's not a factor. So we can't do 16. We can't do 17. Can we do 18? 18 is double 9. And if we multiply it by half of 40, 18 multiplied by 20 gives us our 360. 19 is not a factor, so we can stop. We've done, because we've already got 20 there, so we're done. We can stop. Sorry, I'm covering half the board. So hopefully that makes sense. So it's a big question. If you count them out, there should be 24 factors there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Okay, I'm going to squeeze in one last question, and then I think we're going to have time for our review questions. So, last example, probably quite a quick one. We're going to look at that decimal to percentage conversion. You may remember we've done fraction to percentage. Now let's look at decimal. Decimal to percentage. Conversion. So we started with the number 0.86. We have got 8 in the tenths column, and we have got 6 in the hundredths column. Now, some of you just may know as a rule that to convert from a decimal to a percentage, we need to multiply by 100. It's that whole principle of percent being out of 100. Okay, but we can also turn that into a fraction, and sometimes that will help us. So this is a bit odd because we're always told don't mix decimals and fractions, but just bear with me while we work out how to do this. So 0.6 is exactly the same as writing 0.86 over 1. But that looks awful, doesn't it? So let's try multiplying the numerator and denominator by 10. We've talked before about equivalent fractions. So if I multiply by 10, I'm now going to get 8.6 over 10. That still doesn't help me really, does it? Because I've still got a decimal in my fraction, and I don't like that. So I'm going to multiply by 10 again to get rid of that decimal. So this time we're going to have 86 over 100. Now, if you remember, 86 is our numerator and 100 is our denominator. So we have 86 out of 100. And remember that definition for percentage again? Percentage out of 100. So we can literally now, we have 86 even out of 100. We have 86%. Right, I'm going to pop your review questions on the board. Please feel free to pause them, write them down, do them between now and tomorrow. And then again, I'll just finish up with that 10 by 10 grid so that you can copy that down as well. Okay, so pause the video when you're ready so you can get those noted down, and we'll go through the answers to those tomorrow. And just a reminder, here is your grid so that you can be ticking off all those numbers as we complete them each day. Finally, just a reminder to please subscribe to this channel, to like the video and to please share it with anybody who you think will benefit from these additional math sessions over the next few weeks. 10 o'clock every weekday. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.